Hey, this is Chris Johnson. Welcome to the latest edition of our roundtable here at SeenDaily.com. I've got Mr. Jim Duff here with me today, Kenny Bruce, and we're here to talk about the probation handed out to Dale Earnhard Jr. and Casey Mears, and also why there was a delay in that probation being handed out. What do you think about that, KB?
Well, I think NASCAR's they're in a tough spot, but it's always been their stance that number one, the race fans need to know who won the race when they left the track. I think they also should let fans know. I mean, after the race, they had no comment whatsoever. They said it was a non-issue.
Right.
2 days later, all of a sudden, it's an issue. I think that makes NASCAR look bad. And I think that's a situation that they need to stay away from.
I would tend to agree.
Well, there's no doubt that that's a problem, the delay. And I think, because you've got Dale Earnhardt Jr. involved, the sport's most popular driver, the immediate assumption is, hey, it was favoritism on NASCAR's part toward him. Why didn't they immediately do what they did to Kurt Busch, or Kyle and Carl Edwards last year when almost the exact same incident took place. NASCAR was quick with the probation in that instance, and you're right, this time they delayed. I think the real tough thing for NASCAR is you have Brian France last year saying we want to be able to let the drivers show some more emotion out on the track and not feel that they're going to be penalized right away for everything they do. On the other hand, if you let something like this go, and the next time somebody hits a car on pit road, spins it into a crewman or something.
And I think everybody in fandom would kind of hope that we could see some emotion from drivers, but I don't think it necessarily has to be with a 3,400-pound car. If drivers want to get out and do what Jeff Gordon did to Matt Kenseth a few years ago at Bristol, a shoving match, getting into the helmet a little bit, I think that's not going to hurt anybody. But when you've got these machines involved, different story. I guess the only thing I question is, why can't we have a standard and just hold to it? Why was there such a delay in the announcement this time after what happened last summer?
They're going to tell you that every situation's different.
But this one is almost identical.
Yeah. But I mean, still happened at a different place on the track. They could tell you anything. No two tracks are the same. Everything's going to happen somewhere different on the track. But I still go back to the point that you've got now they're taking the engines back. They're not completing the post-race inspection. Now they're reviewing what happened during the race on Tuesday. It's almost like the race isn't official. I mean, in their words, until Tuesday. And I just think that's a little bit Are other sports like that? I mean, do we find out?
Formula One, the first 3 races of this year
were
the first 3 Formula One races of this year were run under protest by 3 teams arguing that the car that won the first 2 races was illegal. So you had post-race ceremonies, and it was not until about 3 weeks later that the winners were upheld for their cars being legal.
Right. But I think it speaks to NASCAR's credibility, and I think they have to be more consistent. We've talked about this time and again in the sport, and if these stories weren't written after that race on Saturday, are we even looking at this? There's probably no probation handed out. I mean, clearly they reacted to a lot of the negative stories.
Mm-hmm.
That's our job. They'll tell, but that's our job too. So.
Well, and in their defense, it is sometimes easier when you go back 2 days later, you take a look and see, well, did we make the right call the other day?
Yeah.
And in this case, that's what they did.
We're going to leave it on that note. Thank you very much for joining us at SeenDaily.com, and we'll catch you next time.